I'm still struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business?
I've been in this business and making films now over 2 decades, and still, with 2 Oscar nominations, many big blockbuster films, and yet I'm still struggling financially to make a living. I'm definitely underpaid.
He said everything that needs to be said. He didn't say he's struggling to find work. He's still struggling to make a living. And again, like I was just doing, you look on his IMDb, it's work all up and through here. 2024, he had 2 films in 2024. I didn't book a single job in 2024, mind you. 2023, 4 jobs in 2023. That was the strike year. Okay, but let's be clear. If it comes out in 2023, more than likely he filmed it a year before, sometimes 2 years before, depending on the production company. So that means what came out in 2024, he filmed during the strike. What came out in 2023, he filmed during 2022. In 2023, 4 projects dropped. He's not struggling to find work. He's struggling to make a living. And he's been on very huge projects, okay? Djimon is no slack. Aquaman, Captain Marvel, Shazam, A Quiet Place Part 2, The Kingsman, Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Gran Turismo. He's got his big joint from back in the day, the Blood Diamond joint, but I mean, ton of them. Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not gonna sit here and just go read through his entire IMDb. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna keep this hella short. He's not struggling to find work. So he's in a different scenario. He's getting work, but he's struggling to make a living. So where he's staying at, he probably living in LA, and low key it's expensive everywhere. When I was younger, I used to live in South Florida, and back when I was younger, houses were a lot more affordable. And now when you go back there, they're not. The entire real estate market has shifted. I did more research on Djimon, and it seems like he purchased a home out here in Los Angeles in 2020. And he purchased a pretty lavish home. It's not like top tier, but I would say it's middle tier, affluent, suburban. He purchased his home for $2.1 million. And then not too long ago, he put the property on the rental market. That was in September of 2023 for $12,500 a month. And there's no clarification as to whether or not he's doing that because he's just that kind of a businessman and he just wants to make money off of it, or whether he's doing that because he needs to make money. That's not out there. But for him to have this interview where he says he's struggling to make a living, I think it's clear that he needs money, because I haven't never really heard him talk like this. And one thing I can say is, for him to say he's struggling to make a living, I think I need to clarify that for other actors that are not A-list actors, because a majority of actors are not A-list actors, right? So you say you're struggling to make a living. Yes, you're struggling to make a living, but the truth is you're struggling to make the living you want to have. Actors would do much better to get the money that they make and to start doing everything they can to live below their means. Do not buy into the hype that you made it. You ain't made nothing. You have not made anything. I think when you start making money in this industry, the best thing you could probably do is put it all away. Invest the portion that you need to invest. Be extremely mindful, and you probably need to have that kind of mindset for about 15 to 20 years. You got to be able to build enough money to where you can be your own insurance company and you can insure yourself. You can be your own bank and your own insurance, because you never know what's going to happen, i.e. wildfires, hurricanes, tsunamis, etc. For somebody to be working as much as he is, he's getting the job because of his name, because of his experience, because of his stature and what his stature brings to the project, but he's coming in like he's a 6th man off the bench, because he's hella underpaid, hella undervalued. And I mean, just based on how they talk about these movies, at the end of the day, they're always talking about how they're still scraping and trying to make money from these films. They're still trying to convince us that they're not making that much, depending on the film. Because, you know, when you got certain Marvel projects, they're paying Robert Downey Jr. 80 to 100 million. But he knows they don't need him. Hollywood is built in a way where it's always somebody waiting to replace you. Like this, I'll replace him. You better believe that if it's a role that I can book, that he can book, but he tells them, no, I'm not doing it for that fee, for that number, I'll do it. I'll replace him. When Taraji P. Henson was talking about how she shouldn't have to work so hard, this is what she's talking about. He's doing that work. And in my opinion, this is ideal, because everybody ain't going to be Robert Downey Jr. Everybody ain't going to be Leonardo. Everybody can't be in that top 10%. But he's definitely going to be on the lower scale of that movie, and it's just going to always look good. Perception becomes our reality. It's going to always look so good for him to be in that film that it's easy to get caught up in the fact that he's not only in the film, but he played a prominent role in the film, because his stature, and when he shows up, he's going to show up and command presence. He gets to go to the premiere, depending on where the premiere is. It probably gets to be worked into his contract. So he's doing the red carpet. He out there shining, he looking good, looking clean, looking fit. Perception becomes our reality. So we're going to get to looking like, damn, dog, this man has really done it. He said 2 decades, 20 years doing this, 2 Oscar nominations. But look at Monique. She won an Oscar, and she wasn't able to negotiate or bully negotiate her way into making more money. So I'm not going to just sit here and do all this just to talk about how terrible everything is, because that's not what it is. I'm going to talk about what needs to happen from here on out. I'm the new generation. You understand? I am the new generation. So it's important for me to know for myself, for my wife, for my son, if he decides that he wants to be in this kind of industry and do this kind of work, but also for anybody who's coming up after this, so they don't get caught up in the lights, in the perception. You can't just do this work and think that you really just gonna be Robert Downey Jr., Denzel Washington. It's so many actors on so many shows, it ain't no way in hell, it ain't no way in heaven, it ain't no way on earth that every single one of them is making that much money. Think about the NFL. It's certain guys that got that big contract, regardless of how well he did this season or last season. Got that big contract. But on his team, there are some guys who are barely making any money. Y'all watch Hard Knocks? Did you watch Hard Knocks? Did you see in Hard Knocks episode 1 with the Chicago Bears, how they made all those rookies get up there and say what their signing bonus was? And it was only really one of them or 2 of them that had a really big number, Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams blew everybody's signing bonus out the water, but there was still somebody who got up there and was like, my signing bonus was like $4,000, something crazy low. And then Caleb Williams get up there, his signing bonus was like,
and my signing bonus is 25.5.
It's always levels. It's always levels to it. Like Biden said, we're singing from the same song sheet. But that don't mean we all hitting the same notes. That don't mean everybody get to have a solo. So what needs to take place is a guy like this, and I've been talking about this. I said it in one of my first videos when I was talking about Taraji. You can't, and he went later on into that interview, he's talking about, racism and whatnot and how that he thinks that played a role. Listen, you got to get off of that. And what I do hope happens, I hope like somebody like Tyler Perry scoops him up and starts working with him and just feeding him work. At the end of the day, if he does work with Tyler, he's still not really going to be making Robert Downey Jr. money. Let's be clear. But what has to happen is somebody like this, when he's doing these big projects, Marvel, DC, he all up in both worlds. That's a blessing. I don't think any of us should get to looking at it like it's a curse. If your branding isn't Robert Downey Jr.'s branding, you got to be real with yourself. You got to look at yourself in the mirror. I got to look at myself in the mirror, and I got to just be real with myself and just be like, okay, I don't do Robert Downey Jr. things right now, whether that be for racism, whether that be for whatever I want to believe or whoever wants to make their declaration, don't matter. It is what it is, because at the end of the day, the industry is 100+ years doing what it's been doing. It don't need nobody, because there's always somebody ready and willing to replace your ass. So let's say, a movie where Robert Downey Jr. makes $40 million on, somebody like him is on that movie. More than likely, he's not even making $1 million. He a global superstar, but he not a superstar. More than likely, he's not even making $1 million on that movie. More than likely, he's in the range of $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 or $500,000. And like I've been talking about in these videos, chop that number down at least half once you get past the government, especially if he's living here in LA. At least 50% of that is gone. So if he made $500,000 on that movie, he's starting at $250,000. Lord only knows what his house costs. Insurance rates are berserk, especially after what just took place out here in Los Angeles. Chop off some more. Just because of insurance, taxes, mortgage, etc. He got reps. He got hella reps. He got a lawyer who helped him get that deal, who helped him make more money than he would have made on his own. He got a manager who was out there in the UK or in France or something like that. And then he got an agent, pretty good agent, I think, or I think his manager is Range Media Partners. He's got pretty good team. He got hella people to pay. So that $500,000, you cut all that off. He basically makes probably about $100,000 from that movie. That's how savage the cuts are. But okay, I'm not trying to sit here and just talk about how bad it is and how bad it is. No. What needs to take place is having these movies and these opportunities. It's an opportunity to rebrand yourself. If it's me, I'm sitting there, I'm going to start looking at it and say, self, you got to do Marvel, you got to do DC, you did 4 projects this year, 1 voiceover, this, that, and the third. Okay, I see how they see me. How do I see me? I see me like this. Okay, cool. I'm doing my own movie. I'm going to get in contact with some distributors. Since he has such a great team, he's got a very good management team. He's got a lawyer. He can absolutely be in contact with people, distributors, somebody that'll get whatever movie that he's making on a very respectable platform for a very respectable number where he will be the star of that film. So whatever that film makes, he's going to make a majority of it. And if it's his film, essentially, let's say he hires somebody to write it, or let's say he writes it, he's going to at least get a executive producer credit on the film, as well as a credit for acting. So he's going to be locked in for multiple checks. And if he continues to develop that every single year, and he does that every single year, then off the rip, he has started to, he's found a way to bring in his own money. And it doesn't even have to be a film, because I could see a situation where it's like, okay, but who the hell going to be watching, his movie here in the States? What movie he doing? Unless he brings on somebody like a Taraji P. Henson to play his wife in the movie, or whatever, whoever he gets, how's he going to make it, digestible for us to watch? Who cares? Make it international, dog. Go international. And where it'll really hit is if he get his movie to the point where, and he's working with a director that he really likes, and the director really puts in that work, sweat equity, and they mess around and get that movie at Cannes, and it do some things that can change the entire trajectory of how the industry starts to see him. But he's going to have to do that for himself. He can't just keep booking these jobs that he's booking right now, and then all of a sudden they're just going to start paying you more. No, they're going to be looking at it like, that's the number we're going to get you for. That's the number we're getting you for. We need you on that veterans minimum contract. We need you on that 10-day contract, because that allows us to sell this film and say, look at who our 6th man is, as opposed to them saying, look at who our 6th man is. It's Daniel. Nobody really knows Daniel, but yeah, he was good in the audition. It was good in the audition. I'm not saying that to talk myself out of anything or to talk as if I ain't it, I ain't him, I ain't got it. No, nothing like that. It's just branding. You know him more than you know me. So ultimately, you see him in the project and you're going to start to say, oh yeah, ain't that cut from a Blood Diamond? Went up? Yeah. What you doing here? Okay. I'm saying this to say it can't just be a situation where you just working, and just because you working, you're bound to make more money. No, never bound. Never can expect it. Somebody like Leo, if you dissect the people who make the most money, I'm going to make a video on this. Dissect the people who make the most money, though. You got a cat like Leo. Leo been working with Scorsese. Locked in. That's a Scotty and Michael kind of thing. Shaq and Kobe kind of thing. Denzel started off with Spike. Denzel moved off of him and Spike. And then Denzel and Antoine Fuqua. And then they went and did Training Day. And now they on The Equalizer. That's another Shaq and Kobe situation. When Antoine is pitching the movie to somebody else, he's already like, listen, it's me and Denzel. Studios already know what's up. They're with it. It's an established team, an established W. I'll keep going. You got Michael B. Jordan, and then you got Ryan Coogler. Now, without Ryan, Michael really ain't been winning chips like that. We still respect him like that. But without Ryan, it ain't really been those movies that just feel like home team. Ryan and Michael almost feel like Shaq and Kobe for real. You know, without Ryan, Michael feel like Kobe, and he's still trying to put the team together. But you know Mike about to put the team together. But him and Ryan, they'll still probably do something every now and again. But when you hear the name, it's like, oh, okay, all right, the boys back together. Now, those are just three of the biggest actors of our generation. And even Robert Downey Jr., he's got that kind of connection with the Russo brothers. Will Smith, Michael Bay. And sometimes it's not actor-director. Sometimes it's actor and actor. There's got to be more creativity on a personal level. I think artists got to take it more personal and got to really take their career in their own hands, because the industry not going to do it for you. I hope that comes across. What he's saying, at least he's working. At least he didn't get in that interview and say he broke. I highly doubt he's broke. Maybe he got a kid, got an ex-wife. Lord only knows what that means. But he said he's still struggling to make a living, because in my opinion, that means what I've been saying. I've been going through the same things that he has. True, he got more fans than an average man, but not enough loot to last me to the end of the week. I live by the beat like you live check to check. If it don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck. It's the same situation. If you're an up-and-coming actor, you genuinely cannot do this just on some, I just booked the biggest job of my life, I've made it. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. It's never over. It's not over until you stop breathing. It really is only certain actors that have such notoriety that they expect to work now because they have an incoming call type of business. I would imagine he has an incoming call type of business, just at a very specific number. He just strikes me as the type of person that's doing the work. And maybe he's living beyond his means a little bit. Maybe he got a house that demands a lot from him, and so he's doing a lot and never really getting ahead. Especially if you live in states like California, New York, certain states that are just dangerously expensive. It's very challenging to get ahead. Yes, you made a lot of money, but it's hard to get ahead. The government wants that money. You see how they be spending money. California got to spend like 50 some odd billion on just these wildfires. So where the hell they going to get that money? They going to tax people out here who's making money. Even if you don't make money, they going to tax you. You can make $10,000. They still want their cut. So when I saw this clip, I just want to say that I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised. Shocked because I just did a video on this. But I'm glad he's talking about it. Again, there are a lot of ways that this can be resolved. Personally, for me, for my family, for the way I'm going to be moving forward, for the way you as an artist are going to be moving forward, you got to take your career in your own hands. You cannot just depend on this industry. Just because you book something on Hulu or on a Peacock, or it don't matter. You still need to be refining your skills and figuring out how you can create your own masterpiece. You can't really just be an artist if you're just booking jobs. If you're just booking jobs, you're a mercenary. You're a hired gun. You get hired to show up and do the work. You're not an artist until you're churning it out on your own. That's it for me. I just wanted to talk about that video real quick. If you got to this part of the video, though, I really appreciate you sticking around and watching, and I would appreciate it even more if you decided to subscribe. Peace.